was afraid it was. I was afraid it was. Oh my. Yes, definitely.
Good morning, afternoon, good night. That was a lovely day, wasn't it? Hello everybody. Now I'll try and keep this brief. There's a line I've never used before. Yeah, I'm Les Ross. Somebody has to be, and I am standing up. Well, what can I say? I don't know, I should have scripted something really, shouldn't I? Just very briefly, for those that don't know what this is all about and really don't care, because I know this is a steam job, this locomotive is here today, 50 years old. It actually emerged from Doncaster Works, Bargum, 50 years ago in December. So you could say 50 years ago today they were probably, I don't know, thinking about painting it or something. And so to celebrate its 50th birthday, I thought, well, what should we do? And I thought, well, we could change the name. Now, because it was named after me. By the way, I did not buy this locomotive and then name it after myself, although I did think about it. It was already named after me by Virgin Trains for some strange reason. Well, the reason was I used to do the breakfast show on BRMB Radio in Birmingham, and I've outlived that. On the day I left, after 26 years, they said two things. They said, good riddance, and also, here's a present. And the present was that they got Virgin Trains to name this loco after me, because I was a bit of a train spotter stroke railway enthusiast. So that came as a bit of a shock. And then after a year or so, loco was withdrawn because these pendolinos had been invented. And then it went into store for a couple of years in Lincolnshire. You've got to keep them somewhere. And then I thought, well, I can't let this go, can I? For goodness sake. So I was a volunteer here at Tyseley. Nothing too major. I helped clean the coaches, and still do. So if you're travelling on a vintage train in the near future, stop complaining about the dirt. I talked to Bob Meanley, chief engineer at the works here. He said, what am I going to do? So between us we had one of those mad conversations that ended up with, well, you could buy it. So I got a paper round, in fact 2 paper rounds, and I mopped the supermarkets at the weekends and saved up and bought it. This is the very short version of the story. And then madly, Bob Meanley and Vintage Trains ran it on charter trains. Doesn't get any balmier than that, does it, eh? I still can't get over it, to be honest. For the last 4 or so years it's lived at Willesden in London, depot just outside Euston on the West Coast Main Line, because most of its work really is out of Euston. It doesn't work well out of Waterloo, I know that, we've tried it. And actually, I mean, what a tribute to Tyseley, because, you know, I think they're still the only establishment of this nature that have restored steam, diesel and electrics. I think that's still a single unique boast. And yes, so it went to Willesden and it's been there for the last 4 years. This year has been a bit of an unhappy year. The wheels wore out. And after a lot of anguish and another paper round, I had to buy replacement wheels. They're the wheels from 86246, a sister loco. So, Willesden did all the business there. And here it is, and it did its first outing last week of this year on the Cumbria Mountain Express from Euston to Carnfoot, where a steam engine took over, and then this loco brings it back from just south of Preston back to Euston. So that's that. And by the way, I must thank the Peckett there. It actually was, you should have seen it last week on the front on the Cumbria Mountain Express. It was brilliant. It hammered through Rugeley. Anyway, thank you. So that's the short story, and the reason I'm renaming it today is because I can, because it's my engine. So, its first name was Peter Pan. These locos weren't named in the first dozen or so years of their lives, but they started naming this class of 86s. And The first name was Peter Pan, which was chosen by a 6-year-old boy called Ian Hull in a competition. And I tried to track him down. He's now 42, and after a lot of Miss Marple investigation, he's emigrated. And I can only presume he didn't want to know. So it seemed a bit drastic to leave the country. But anyway, so I couldn't get Ian. I actually decided today I'd ask the lady who suggested to BRMB Radio to suggest to Virgin Trains that they named thank you, train after me. I know I'm running out of time. I was going to get her, well, she's on her way. Her name's Ellie. She was a listener of mine, and she had the mad idea to ask about naming a loco after me, and it happened. So I thought it'd be nice if Ellie was here today, but she's still on her way, so she's going to miss it. That's her all over. But never mind. I've mentioned her in dispatches. But I just so I thought there's only one other person I think at the moment on this on these grounds that really should do the honours and pull this tatty bit of string. That was homemade in my home earlier this morning. It looked a bit better 2 or 3 hours ago. I think it's got bedraggled through the weather. And that's Chief Engineer here at Tyseley Loco Works. Are you about, Bob? You said you'd show up. Where are you? I wanted Bob to say a few words. Are you here, Bob? He knows how to make an entrance. Oh, here he is. You've got to come and do this, Bob. Because to be honest, you know, if it wasn't for Bob, it wouldn't have happened, to be honest. Well, of course it wouldn't. So come and give your excuses for this.
Well, I was the engine up the railway, and I heard this noise over here.
This noise, that's the nicest thing he's ever said about me. Anything else to say, Bob, about this here electric?
Well, it's, I think we were very proud of it, really, because some of you will have read the book and heard the story. But Les got this locomotive named after him, and this has been under here for many years, and it was great help to us. And he came to my office one morning, and said, I've been withdrawn. What? I've been withdrawn. Oh no. Well, what's going to happen to me? I'm storing Stonebridge Park Depot. Well, ladies, you're about to get broken up. So, of course, the response came back. I've had this silly idea. And the upshot was that I got permission to talk to HSBC Rail about buying it, and they put it in storage in England, and it was getting quite badly knocked about in this secure storage facility. And they eventually decided to transfer it to us for storage, because ours was free and the other one wasn't. And we eventually managed to buy it. The process of getting it back together really was greatly helped by one or two people, in particular David Fisher, who's here somewhere driving the engine around today, and Richard Thompson, along with quite a few other people. But when we got it, we found out that it was in remarkable condition. And when you think that this locomotive was built in early 1966, virtually the first locomotives that we built in this nation to run continuously at 100 miles an hour, and it's gone on to do that for almost 6 million miles, which is well over 4 times more than any of the Stanley Pacifics managed to put in on West Coast Main Line. So I've always believed that these things were actually a worthy successor to the Stanley Pacific. Certainly a lot better than those miserable offerings that's hidden behind there called the Class 40, which a friend of mine on the railway always used to say were about the equal of a poor Scot. They're going to cut your mic off.
Yeah, they provided the microphone, by the way. But you know, it was a great source of pleasure to actually be involved in getting this locomotive back on the main line. And what was even more pleasing was when we sat down and realised that we were the first organisation since British Railways in 1968 to have steam, diesel and electric locomotives
basically licensed to run on the main line. And you know, we had a lot of fun out of it. It ran quite a number of tours for us. And later's gone off. Now it's got a whole new career working out of Willesden, which has a slight benefit compared to us in that they've got wires up there, and you can plug it into the mains periodically and keep it warm and dry and everything else. So it really was a pleasure to be involved with it, and you know, even though it's not based here at the moment, we're immensely proud of it. And there's nothing else I can say about it, really.
Well, you thought of something, didn't you, Bob? And actually, I mean, Willesden has been its home for most of its life, hasn't it, on and off, about 30 odd years. But, so it's probably where it should be now. But Tyseley is definitely its heritage spiritual home, isn't it? Which is why I'm so glad it's back here today to do this. And there was nothing else to do this weekend anyway, so what are you going to do? That's all right. So that's that. And by the way, just a spooky thing before Bob pulls this illustrious string. Pull it this way, Bob, and it should work. And if Dave riveted it on right, it won't come off. Yeah, no, it is on, yes. I said, will Velcro do? But apparently not, no. So, yeah, a little, I'm an anniversary nutter, and as it happens, we're just one day out on this. It was first named Peter Pan on the 23rd of October, 1979. So we're marking its 50th birthday, and its 36 years and 1 day anniversary of being Peter Pan, so it's all kind of come round in a circular kind of bonkers way, isn't it? Oh yeah, the Day Tripper one, yeah. The first tour out of Tyseley was called the Day Tripper, because, that's right, because he went to Liverpool, and 50 years ago, on the day that this loco went into service, Day Tripper by the Beatles was at #1 in the charts. Yeah, yeah. See, we do all this research. I know, you know, we don't just throw it together, we just make it look as though we have. Right, well that's about it. Ellie hasn't arrived, as you know, she's late for her own unveiling, I don't know. So Bob, I'm going to ask you to do the honours and pull this, it's not going to last much longer anyway, is it? And just pull the string on this, you probably know what it is. If it says anything other than Peter Pan, I'll be very surprised. So, ladies and gentlemen, Bob, do the honours, and let's have 86259 as Peter Pan once again.
My name is yes, Peter Pan.
Whoa, yes, only got one bit of tape on the top, thank you. There we go. Okie doke. Yes, it feels right. By the way, I've only named it on one side Peter Pan, it's not this on this, because I've still got that much vanity. I'm afraid.
It was deflated because when he went back to see him coming back from London after they named it, he sort of went back and he was on his own at the end of the platform, and the train pulled in and they were looking at it. The driver peered out of the window and said, "Who's this bloke Les Ross?" Obviously didn't come from Birmingham.
And then I had 30 seconds to tell him, because of course it was just calling it Birmingham International, so I had 30 seconds to say, well, it's me actually. And he believed me as well. All right, thank you very much, Bob, and thank you, Tyseley, very much indeed. Oh, and I better just thank Willesden, because, this man here is top engineer. I've forgotten your title there. Is he Emperor of Willesden? I've forgotten what it is. But he's the man who looks after it at Willesden now, so he just came up here just to see what it was like up here at a proper depot. Oh, no! It's coming shortly here. All right. Thank you, David, as well. Thank you, and thank you, Bob, and thank you, everybody. And your interest has been much appreciated. Mind you, didn't have any alternative of blocking the turntable. Back to the steam. Thank you very much.